Hey everybody, and welcome back to our 31-day yoga journey here on Move with Katie. This is day 21, and today we are going to be integrating this week's balancing practices into one longer, really juicy, pretty sweaty flow. So get into something comfortable and let's take a seat on your mat to get started. Just like every practice, we'll spend the first few breaths really dropping into our body and getting ready to be here in this moment. So find a comfortable seat, tuck the tailbone under, tuck the chin slightly, reach up through the crown of the head as if there was a long string pulling from the tip of your tailbone all the way through the top of your head, down in one direction, up in the other, nice and strong. Inhaling through the nose. Maybe you gently part the lips and sigh out the mouth, letting all the breath go. Then taking your next breath through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Taking a moment just to be grounded in this space. With your next exhale, maybe you bring the palms to touch at heart center, thumbs on the sternum, and setting an intention for our practice. I will offer one of balance. We'll be moving through a series of both active and restful postures, and I encourage you to savor each of them. With that intention ready, let's keep the eyes closed and swing the feet around towards the top of your mat. And then you'll roll down the back body. So you come to be laying on your mat, almost as if you're in a shavasana. You can keep the eyes nice and gentle here. Keep the eyes closed. Maybe place the palms faced up. And we're just going to take a moment to feel what it feels like to have our body completely in one line. Maybe bring the feet together, heels to touch, big toes to touch, and flex the legs. Then point the toes. Flex the toes. Then point the toes. Let's reach the arms up high overhead and flex the heels of the hands away from the body so that the fingertips of the middle finger rest on the floor, as if you're in a handstand, but you're here laying on the floor. Actively engage your belly button to your spine. Squeeze the heels together, the inner thighs. Maybe point through the toes. Just feel this elongation here along the floor. Feel the length of your spine. Feel what it feels like to be completely active in this straight line position. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the knees in towards chest. And maybe grab hold of the knees and start to make some little rocks side to side. You can flutter the eyes open or you can keep them closed. Maybe start to make some circles with the knees, massaging the low back. And then maybe switch the direction of those circles. And then let's drop both legs over to the right side of the body, or the left side. Doesn't really matter. Whatever order feels right to you. Spread the arms wide like a T and look over the opposite shoulder from your knees. Just warming up with a gentle twist here at the beginning of our practice. Inhale, lengthens the spine. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Flattening shoulders towards floor. Finding any spaces where there's tension and releasing it. And then inhaling knees through center and dropping them over to the opposite side. Flattening shoulders against floor and looking over that opposite elbow. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist a little deeper, pulling navel towards the backbone. And then inhale, looking through center, bringing the knees in towards chest. And as you exhale, sending the toes towards the sky. Coming into a upward dandasana, staff kind of pose. Point and flex the toes. Here, Maybe take some circles with the ankles. Hands can rest on the floor, on the thighs, or on the belly, wherever feels right. Circle one direction with the ankles and then the other. And then from here, let's exhale the heels, lowering the heels until they come to just a hover above the floor. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the head, and reach the hands out behind you. So now you're in a low boat pose. Inhale here, and as you exhale, bring knees in towards chest, flex the palms of the hands away from you. So you're coming into almost a crow pose. We're gonna call this a crow crunch. So your knees are really squeezing in towards elbows. Heels of the hands are facing away. Heart is lifting. So your back body is starting to round. Inhale. And then exhale, lower to your low, hollow boat. Inhale here. Exhale, crow crunch. Pull the knees in. Inhale, lower. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow. Inhale, low boat. Let's do 3 more. Exhale, crow. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow, and hold here. See if you can lift your hips off the floor. Really get into those lower abdominal muscles. Hold for 3. Curl in a little tighter. 2, 1, and then place the feet on the ground. Let the head lower. Let the arms come by the side. The knees are pointing up. Feet are close to the glutes. And we're going to come into a bridge pose, starting to warm up through the neck and the back body. Inhale here. And as you exhale, lift the hips, lift the heart towards the chin. And maybe it feels good here to interlace the fingers and walk the shoulders underneath the back body. We'll stay here for a few breaths, so really take your time, starting to warm up through the shoulders, lift the hips high, squeeze the inner thighs together, press down through all 4 corners of the feet, press down through the forearms, the shoulders. See if that can help you lift a little higher. Inhale here, exhale, stay. Inhale here. And then with your next exhale, if you've taken the interlace of the fingers, undo them gently, roll the shoulders out from under the back body, and come all the way back down onto the back, 1 vertebrae at a time. Inhale, lift the toes to the sky. And then as you exhale, let's lift the hips up and reach the toes behind you, coming into a plow pose. Maybe your hands here stay long. Maybe they come to support the low back. Maybe they interlace. Maybe they even reach behind you as if they could grab hold of your toes. All just options. Find the one that feels right to you. Let your neck be gentle and breathe deeply. This is our plow pose. Inhale here. And as you exhale, begin 1 vertebrae at a time to slowly roll down, and we will meet in a low boat. So take your time to get there, letting the heels lower. When you get to that low boat, inhale, lift the head, reach the arms around behind you. Inhale here. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow crunch. And then set the feet down. Palms come next to the glutes. We're setting up for bridge pose. Inhale, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes, bridge pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the toes. Now you're starting to see the pattern. And then exhale, send the hips high, plow pose, toes behind the head. Inhale here. Exhale, rolling down, lowering all the way to a low boat. Heels come to hover. Heart lifts, inhale. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, long. Exhale, crow crunch. Then set the toes and the heels down next to the glutes. Inhale, lift the hips, bridge pose. Exhale, lower the hips, lift the toes. Inhale, hips lift, toes behind head, plow pose. Inhale here. Exhale, gently and slowly roll the back body down. Roll the heels close to the floor. And then inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow crunch one more time. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow crunch. Then plant the heels. Hands down by the hips. And inhale, lift the hips high, bridge pose. Exhale, lower the hips. Lift the toes. And plow pose. Lift the hips up high, toes back behind the head. Then this time, as you roll down, let's lift the heart and come into a high boat. Inhale here. Exhale, lower to low boat. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart. Shins should be parallel with the earth, or maybe you point through the toes. Your option, you choose. Exhale, lower, low boat. Inhale here. Exhale, lift it to a high boat pose. 2 more. Lower and lift. Your breath. Lower and lift. And then lowering back to that low boat. Let's reach the hands up overhead and exhale, crow crunch. You got it. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, crow crunch. Set the toes down. Set the hands down. You know where we're going. We're adding on. Inhale, lift the hips, bridge pose. Exhale, lower. Lift the toes. Lift the hips, toes come behind head, plow pose. And then this time, exhale, and we'll lower and lift up into that high boat. And then plant the feet, and we'll begin to rock forward. Rocking forward until maybe you get enough momentum that you stand up into a forward fold. And then in that forward fold, we'll hang out for a minute, grabbing hold of opposite elbows, swaying side to side, maybe shaking the head. Yes, I can do it. No, nothing will get me down. And then inhale, let's halfway lift, flat back, belly button towards spine. And as you exhale, plant the palms and come up onto the toes, bending the knees and sinking the hips down. So now we're on our toes, and you're going to notice that your elbows are meeting your knees. Okay? So right there where your elbows meet your knees, that is where we will make a little shelf when we do crow pose to sit our knees right on that little shelf so that we can lift our legs up off the ground. But for now, we're gonna set our hips down and meet in a low boat. And then you know where we're going. Arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, long. Exhale, crow crunch. Feet down, hands down. Hips lift, bridge pose. Exhale, lower. Toes lift, and then hips lift, toes over the head, plow pose. Slowly exhale, rolling it forward, meeting in a high boat. Exhale, lower to low boat. Inhale, high, and then plant the heels. And we're going to rock over the toes, plant the palms this time, and shift the gaze forward. We're not coming into crow just yet, but we're playing with the idea. We'll get there, I promise. Playing with the idea. And then as you exhale, keep the lift of the heels. Stay on the toes, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Squeeze the heels together, squeeze the thighs together. Exhale, forward fold. Let the heels rest, sinking the hips down and rocking one more time. Practice that sequence. Low boat, arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, crow, crunch, inhale, long. Exhale, crow, crunch, feet down, hands down. Bridge pose, hips lift. Exhale, lower, lift the toes, lift the hips, toes over, and we roll forward to a high boat. Planting the feet, rocking over, coming into that crow prep. And then exhale, straighten the legs, forward fold. Shake out the knees. And now we're going to talk for a moment about what we do in crow. So there are some options in crow. One thing that you can do is if you're afraid of falling forward, you can take a couple of blocks, or you can take a pillow, or you can take something and set it in front of you. You can even set yourself up on a wall so that you lean into that wall instead of falling forward. I recommend something like a couple of blocks. Then you'll place your hands shoulders distance apart, and on that little shelf of your elbows, you'll place your knees. Then place your forehead on the blocks or on the pillows and begin to shift your weight forward, setting the knees on the shelf and using that extra pressure in the forehead to help keep you from falling forward, squeezing the feet in towards the glutes. Another option is to think about using a strap to keep your arms glued together. One way to think about that without a strap is by wrapping your triceps together. And then you're making an isosceles triangle with your fingers. So looking maybe 8 or 9 inches ahead of your hands, and that is where your gaze is going to go. Your gaze is going to go forward, so your weight goes forward, and then you pull one heel in, and maybe that's where you stay. Maybe then you pull another heel in, and maybe that's where you stay. Or maybe you alternate feet, coming onto the toes, shifting back and forth, pulling the heel in towards the glute, puffing up the back of the heart. Okay, that is our crow pose. So from here, let's go ahead and practice. Get whatever props you need, and we'll meet you in crow pose. So planting the hands, rocking the weight forward, finding your gaze point, squeezing the heels in towards glutes, and we'll hold for 5. You got it. Puff up the back of the heart, claw through the floor, squeeze the glutes, squeeze everything into the midline. 3, for 2, and for 1. If you fall, we'll catch you, don't worry. Set the heels down, then set the hips down, and then here we are again in our flow, low boat. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, crow crunch. Now you know why we do this. Inhale, lung. Exhale, crunch. Set the feet down. Lift the hips high. Set the hips down. Toes lift. Toes reach over the head. Plow pose. And then we roll it up. High boat. Plant our feet and we come right away into that crow pose. Find your hold. Be there for 3. You got it. Find your gaze for 2, for 1. Then set your toes down and exhale, forward fold. Let's interlace the fingers and roll out the wrists one direction and then the other direction. And then we'll move into the second part of our flow today, and then we'll put it all together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, and let's step, hop, or jump to the back of your mat, landing in a high plank, or maybe in a chaturanga. Inhaling through your vinyasa, lift the heart, and exhaling, meeting in a downward facing dog. And this week we've been playing with handstand basics as well. That's our other balancing posture we'll be playing with today. So in playing with this, look at that point between your thumbs. That's your gaze point, your drishti. And we're going to shift our weight forward and back in downward dog over that point, finding just a happy little balancing act for our brain, saying, hey, it's okay if we move direction. So exhale, forward, stare at that point. And then send your hips back, stare at that point. Send your weight forward, high plank, press the floor away. Don't lose your form. Then exhale, hips high, downward dog, stare at the same point. 2 more times, forward and back. Really pressing the ground away, rounding through the back body, feeling strong in the shoulders, and then press it back. And then from here, stepping your right toes in, lifting left toes high, claw the floor, and beginning to take little hops towards handstand. Pulling the knee in towards the chest, lifting up with the legs, pressing the floor away. Maybe finding a little hang time, maybe not. And then we'll all meet with the right foot forward and the left foot back. High lunge, reach the arms up overhead. Inhale. Exhale, circle the arms around behind, interlace the fingers, lift the heart. A little bit of balance to all that work we've been doing on our wrists. Inhale here. And then exhale, drop the back heel to a 45-degree angle, straighten through the front foot, and we're going to lean the hips forward, coming into pyramid pose, reaching the arms out long. Inhale here. And then exhale, lower the hands, bend into the front knee, step it back, high plank. Exhale, lowering through your vinyasa. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, downward dog. Take a little breath. And we've got the other side. Let's remind our brain that it's okay to move forward and back. So press the floor away. Pick a spot between your thumbs And then exhale, forward to high plank, stare at the space. Send the hips back, downward dog. 2 more. Forward and back. Claw through the fingertips. Press the floor away. Forward and back. Maybe 1 more. Forward and back. And then inhale, sweep the left toes high. Exhale, step the left toes about 2/3 of the way forward. So the knees hugging into chest, and you're on the toes of that hand. Round through the back body, claw through the hand, shift your weight forward, and kick up, straightening through the right leg and kicking off that left foot. Inhale, lift, lower. Lifting into that handstand, trying to find just a little bit of hang time. No judgment, no pressure, just play. And then meeting with the left foot forward and the right foot back. Inhale, high lunge. Taking a breath here. And then exhale, sweeping the arms behind, crossing the opposite hand on top, the awkward one. And inhale, lift the heart. Little release for the shoulders. Undoing the interlace of the fingers. Let's drop the back heel down, maybe 45, maybe a little less. Straighten through the front leg. Square the hips towards the short end of your mat. And exhale, fold forward, reaching forward with the crown of the head. Nice flat back. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Pyramid pose. Nice and strong. You got it. And then exhale, plant the palms, step the foot back. Moving through your vinyasa. Inhale, lift. And exhale, downward dog. From that downward dog, walking the toes all the way to the front of the mat. Stay on your tiptoes. Come up onto the fingertips. Bend the knees as you need to. And then you know where we're going. We've done it before. We're going to put it all together. Bending into the knees. Coming onto the heels and setting the hips down. Setting the heels down. Low boat. Inhale here. Reach the arms high overhead. Exhale, crow prep. Inhale, long. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, low boat. Press the feet down, heels close to the glutes, hands next to the hips, and inhale, lift, bridge pose. Exhale, lower the hips. Inhale, toes lift. And then as you exhale, hips lift, toes behind head, plow pose. Gently and slowly roll it forward, meeting in a high boat, lift from the heart. And then exhale, plant the feet, rocking over the heels. Plant the palms, your crow pose. Maybe we just lift one toe. That's okay. Be where you are. And then option here to step back to your vinyasa, or maybe you shift your weight forward and shoot your legs back behind you, meeting in a chaturanga. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, downward dog. Then inhale those right toes high. Here we go. Exhale, step the right foot to the middle of the mat, about 2/3 of the way forward. Lift the left toes, puff up the back of the heart, claw through the hands, press the floor away, handstand hop. Maybe you find some hang time. And then set your right toes down, set the left toes down. Low, that high lunge. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, scoop the arms around behind. Lift the heart, interlace the fingers. And then keep the interlace of the hands here as you drop the hand, drop the back heel, and come into a pyramid pose, but this time, send the knuckles high. Nice flat back. Exhale, release the hands, step it back, plank pose. Exhale, moving through your vinyasa. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, look forward, and as you exhale, tiptoe all the way to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower the hips. One more time. You got it. Exhale, lower the heels, hips down. Low boat. Reach the arms up overhead. Inhale. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, long. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, set the feet down next to the glutes. Hands beside the hips. Inhale, lift into a bridge pose. Squeeze the glutes. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the toes. Exhale, hips high, toes over the head, plow pose. And then slowly roll it down, meeting in a high boat. Inhale here, and as you exhale, plant the feet, rock it over. Plant the hands, crow pose, look forward, gaze is forward. Weight is balanced, distributed evenly through the palms and the fingertips, claw the floor. And then option to jump back, and we'll all meet in a downward dog after moving through your vinyasa. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, downward dog. Left toes sweep high. And then step the left toes in, knee in towards chest, left toes half, 2/3 of the way. Lift right toes high. Puff up the back of the heart, claw through the hands, point through the right toes, every muscle active, lifting up to your handstand. Take a hop, take two, take a hang. Then wherever you land, meet us with the left foot forward, right foot back, high lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, wrap the hands behind you, awkward pinky on top. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, drop that back heel down. Shorten the stance if you need to. Straighten through the front leg, hips square. And exhale, fold forward, send the knuckles high. Pyramid pose. Inhale here. Exhale, stay. Next, inhale, sweep the fingers forward. Step the foot back, high plank. Move through your vinyasa. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing. And then let's walk the toes one more time to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift the heart. Staying on the toes. Exhale, begin to lower the hips. Sink the heels down. Lower all the way to your low boat. Inhale, reach the arms long. Exhale, crow crunch. Inhale, long. Exhale, crow crunch. Then set the feet down. And here, we're going to switch it up a little bit. Option to keep bridge pose, but we'll hold it for a longer amount of time, squeezing the inner thighs together. Or maybe you want to take a wheel pose because you're feeling nice and warm and that feels good to you. If that's the case, take your fingertips, point them down towards your shoulders next to your ears. We'll inhale, and as you exhale, press up through the palms, reach up with the hips, heart reaches between the arms. Let the head hang nice and loose, play with the gaze and find what feels natural. Lift the hips high. Let's take 3 deep breaths. If you're in bridge pose, same thing. 3 deep, long breaths. Squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips. And then exhale, let's lower slowly down, 1 vertebrae at a time. And then we'll lift the toes. Take a moment, maybe shift hips side to side. Little release of the back body. And then some more options. 1, return to plow pose, or to do a shoulder stand. For this, you may even go to plow pose first and then into a shoulder stand. I'll cue that. Inhale, you'll lift the hips, toes behind head. And then walking the shoulders more underneath of you. Bring the hands to the back of the rib cage. Then lifting the toes to the sky, squeezing the glutes, squeezing heels together, and coming into a shoulder stand. Neck is nice and relaxed. Chest and hips are reaching high, toes pointing up through towards the sky. Breathing deeply. And then as you exhale, gently keeping the heels together, keeping the legs together, let's come back into that plow pose so we can gently exit the posture. Undo the hands from the back body. Let the palms lay against the floor, arms are long behind you, and slowly, 1 vertebrae at a time, roll all the way down to the back, and then let the heels slowly lower all the way to the floor. Inhale, and as you exhale, take a big old wiggle with the body. Ooh, feels so good. And then let's take the feet as wide as the mat. Drop the knees over to the right. Knees are bent. Sorry, I didn't cue that very well. Knees bent. Drop them over to the right, windshield wiper. Drop them over to the left. Just windshield wipering the legs. And then let's bring the right knee in towards chest, send the left leg long. And guide the right leg across to the left side of the body, opening up the arms like a T, coming into a reclined twist. Really cooling down the practice here. Every inhale lengthens the spine. Every exhale, you find another millimeter of space. Inhale, bringing that right knee back into chest, coming onto the back body. And exhale, send the leg long. Give the legs a little shake before bringing the left knee into chest. And then dropping the left knee over to the right side and extending the arms long. Seeing if you can flatten shoulders against the earth, looking over the left hand. Maybe closing down the eyes. And then with your next inhale, looking back towards the ceiling, bringing the knees both into chest, grounding the back body, maybe taking a couple circles with the knees in one direction, nice and gentle, and then maybe some circles in the other direction. Just balancing out the practice. We had a lot of fire, a lot of pingla energy, a lot of that sun and heat. Now it's time for that yin, that ida, that gentle energy. So inhale, giving yourself one big hug, forehead to knees. And exhale, letting the feet go as wide and long as your mat, letting the palms face up, the arms be wide like a star laying in the night sky. Quiet, still, shimmering. Letting the breath return to whatever its natural rhythm may be. Letting the body become heavy, grounded, connected to the earth below. Letting the face and all of its muscles be soft. Really taking these final moments to let the benefits of this asana practice sink in and integrate. Giving yourself equal emphasis on the rest as you did on the energetic practice. And then, as always, remaining here as long as feels good. But if you are ready to come back, begin by gently deepening the breath. Exhaling through the nose. And then maybe wiggling fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles. Bringing the feet together and reaching the arms up overhead, taking a full body stretch. Inhaling And exhaling, turning onto one side, knees come into chest, cradling head in the arms. And then gently, keeping the eyes soft, pressing yourself back to a seated position. Ending our practice just like we began. Rooting down through the tailbone, reaching up through the crown of the head, and maybe bringing hands to heart center, palms to touch. Thank you for sharing this practice with me today. I hope you may bring this balance with you as you go off your mat. Namaste. Thanks, friends. It was a true treasure to flow with you today, and I cannot wait to see you again tomorrow in our yoga journey. So please like, subscribe, and make sure you come back. I'll see you then. Ciao, y'all.